Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosie, this is my husband Jeremy.
Hello.
We recently spent around 6 weeks, was it 45 days?
49 days.
49 days in India, and we wanted to give you a little bit of a video talking about our experience, the things that we enjoyed, the things that we enjoyed maybe a little bit less. I've always wanted to go to India. Since I was like 16, it's always been top on my list. I see the photographs of the architecture. The food is obviously meant to be good. I always thought it would be too spicy for me, but actually the food was fine. But I've just always wanted to go. It's always been my dream. And
Well, you went.
I went, and I don't know if I'll be going back, if I'm honest. So let's talk about our first place. So basically we went to 5 different places. We went to Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, Jodhpur, and then Rishikesh. And we sort of went to Delhi in between those days and also at the end a little bit. But it was mostly a week in each and then 2 weeks in Rishikesh at the end. And I think the plan was just to kind of see the top spots, see the best, like the things that we see on Instagram, all the kind of travel stuff, obviously Taj Mahal, things like that. And then spend 2 weeks in Rishikesh, which is like the yoga capital of the world, and do some yoga and relax. And I remember before we left, I was thinking, I think it's going to be, sorry about the chickens, I think it's going to be a lot of, just a lot in Delhi. And then I said, I think it'll get better and better the longer we go, because I think it'll be less touristy, more just normal. And then I was right with that. So let's talk about Delhi. So we went there for a week.
A week at the beginning, and then we went back for like 3 or 4 nights in the middle. Yeah.
And a bit at the end as well.
Yeah, we must have spent like 10 or 12 days in total in Delhi.
We stayed in the tourist district. So there's a street where it's all the hotels where everybody stays. And it is unlike any tourist district I've ever been to in my entire life. Like, it was so full of so many people and cows and smells and tuk-tuks and sights, and it was just a lot. Like, this is the sort of place that you would usually think, hey, let's not go to that neighbourhood. And I know I'm really trying to be nice.
That's a neutral part.
I'm really trying to be nice, but honestly, it's not like any tourist area you've ever been in your life. Like, it felt like we were in a not a great neighbourhood. Like, nothing bad happened. I just want to preface this whole thing. Nothing bad happened in India. Nothing actually bad happened. We just felt uncomfortable a lot of the time. Let's just get into the top 3. Well, the food was good actually. The food. So I said I thought it'd be too spicy. It was actually really nice.
The food in Delhi was the best we had in India.
Super cheap.
Equally to Rishikesh, because the cook was really good. But
it was different.
Overall, the food in Delhi was incredible and cheap as hell.
Yeah.
Compared to everywhere else. Probably half price compared to all the other cities we've been to.
Yeah.
About 100 to 150 local money, rupee. I don't remember how much that is, but it was always 200 plus anywhere else.
Wasn't it basically 100 is €1? I think it was
like that.
Yeah, that's how we figured it out anyway.
Yeah, very good. I'm not a big Indian food guy. Like, I have chicken masala when I'm in England, and that's about it. That's all I know, to be honest. I always order the same because that's all I know. But yeah, it wasn't that spicy, to be honest. People always ask, do you want spice or not? But when you say no, it was actually not spicy, and very often it's not the case.
It was really flavoursome.
Yeah, incredible. Like, some of the best food I ever had, probably.
And something to note, so 2 things. I feel like Indian food in England, they make it spicy to make it be Indian food.
Yeah.
And there's no need for it. Like, Indian food is actually not that spicy. It doesn't have to be. It's so full of flavour, you don't need the spice. And then the other thing is that we often eat street food. So pretty much on the first or second day, we sort of went for a walk and found this place that we ended up going to almost every day because it was cheap and it was delicious. So we obviously didn't go to the big restaurants or the big hotels and things.
We had the food that most people would say avoid it.
Yeah, and then also street
incredible.
food as well. So food was really good.
Food, chai masala.
Dal was good.
Yeah. The only, if I have to be picky, it's we didn't have that much rice, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
From Indian food, it's always rice and a sauce stuff.
It was chapatis a lot.
Where it was a sauce with, what was it, paneer?
Yeah.
This cottage cheese kind of thing. I think we had meat once because it happened to be in our plate. We didn't choose it. It was very liquidy. Not much, substance, fiber, stuff like that.
So we're talking
which
about
had
this.
something on the digestion.
We were talking about this the other day. So we really enjoyed Indian food. This is just in general, then we'll get into Delhi specific. But in general, the food in India was really, really good. And it was only until we got to Rishikesh when we actually had salads. but a lot of the food is either, like Jeremy said, it's kind of lentils or something in sauce, so it's just very mushy, without rice, and the chapatis. And then we also had samosas a few times, but again, it's like a bit of pastry with mush inside. So it just meant that like we didn't have anything with fibre or anything too solid for like 6 weeks until we got to Rishikesh, and we were just like, we've just had so much diarrhea. Like there's nothing to help you just like digest it properly. That's
but
the
not
one
like
thing.
the Delhi belly kind of sore, just
No.
it was because of the food,
Yeah.
Aye, that was a poop discussion.
Yeah. We got that out of the way early.
Food was incredible in Delhi.
Okay, so if we go into Delhi in particular, so we did a couple of day trips between the first week and then when we came back 2 other times. We ended up going to Safdarjung tomb, the day we went to get my apple thing. We went to Humanyun's tomb. We went to the Red Fort. We did something else. I'm going to have to check my YouTube because I've been editing all the videos. So the other ones, I'm just checking my YouTube. You can go on here, by the way, and just watch all of them. Akshardham was another one. India Gate was another day trip we did. We went to the Lotus Temple another day. All of the vlogs are on my YouTube channel. And obviously Old Delhi and Jama Masjid. So we actually did quite a lot because we were there for maybe 10 days in total, maybe
10
2
or 12,
weeks.
yeah. We did everything that we wanted to do on a list. Took us a few times, but... Yeah,
what would be your top 3 things to do or any advice?
My favorite place we visited is the one we don't have any pictures of, is the I can't say the name.
Akshardham.
Yeah, the massive Hindu temple it was.
I don't remember.
Yeah. One of the most beautiful building / temple I've ever seen. Very incredible architecture outside and inside, with beautiful garden and stuff. And because you couldn't take pictures, the experience was really nice also because you don't have, plenty of Instagrammer around and vloggers, and I don't know, it's just like nicer, I felt, in a way.
It was nice and relaxed.
It was stunning, absolutely stunning.
But the other thing, like Jeremy said, so when you arrive, you have to put your phone and cameras and things in like a locker box, and you get it back out when you come back out. So it meant that I couldn't vlog that day. I did end up doing a video and putting pictures that I found online, so you can go and watch that to learn more about it. But when we went to other places, such as the Red Fort, we basically felt like we were being filmed and photographed a lot of the time. So in Akshardham, it was nice because people would look, but they couldn't come up to us and like ask for photos and videos. We could just like sit and chill a little bit more than the other places we'd been to. So yeah, I agree.
So that was probably my favourite. And for the second, because apparently I'll just have 2 to be honest.
That's fine.
It's probably the smaller tomb that we went to again. Like,
Safdarjung.
Yeah. That was kind of unexpected. It was like a random thing that we saw on Google Map. So let's go, it's on the way of wherever we're going. So we stopped there. It's probably not like a must-see. It's probably not listed in much places.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. And it was our first experience visiting this kind of tomb as well.
Yeah.
In the style of Taj Mahal and the bigger one and stuff like that. But I guess because it's the first one that we saw, I have a different souvenir of it, and it kind of stayed a little bit more in my head.
Yeah, and in terms of like
it was really quiet also, like not many people and stuff like that. So again, I can enjoy it a bit better.
And in terms of the structure and things, what you mean by kind of inspired by the Taj Mahal? So there's a building in the middle, and it's all symmetrical, all 4 sides, and tombs are in the middle.
It's like onion shaped door.
And even the gardens, there's like 4 gardens coming out each side, and they're all symmetrical. So it was really nice.
Yeah, the India Gate was cool also. It's a cool, massive. It's big as hell. Really big. That was cool as well.
So for me, it's interesting because if you think about, like, I love architecture. If you think about the architecture itself, all of it was beautiful, all of it was amazing. But then, like, I'm looking at the videos and I'm like, ooh, see, the Red Fort, if you took away all the people, would be so nice to walk around. It was huge in there. So many different things to see in terms of, like, there was like the water palaces, there was the gardens, there was the huge red buildings, and like there was a lot to see there. It was beautiful. I just didn't love my experience there.
I didn't mention it because I preferred the Agra Fort personally. That's why I didn't put it in my top 3.
Yeah, but in terms of Delhi, that would be one to see.
It's a must-see, but I had such a bad experience there that I kind of want to forget about it.
Yeah, good. So I kind of want to share my real experience because me and Jeremy both feel a little bit stressed because we're constantly being photographed and filmed. Even if somebody says, can I have a selfie, and we say no, they still just photograph us anyway. Like, Jeremy had to go up to this guy and be like, can you stop photographing us? Because he just kept taking pictures of us with his kids, even without our permission. So I like the Red Fort. What else did we do? I'm just looking. Old Delhi. Jama Masjid. Don't go to Jama Masjid because it was like 300. It was like €3 each to get in, which is fine. For tourists.
It says it's free on Google Map, and when you're a tourist, you have to pay somehow.
Yeah. So we paid €3 to get in, which is fine, but it's just that you kind of walk in there and there's not a lot to see. I don't think it was worth the money. I don't think it was worth the time, particularly. Old Delhi, I enjoyed it again. I really enjoyed... See, I enjoyed the experience, but then not the afterwards. So when we were in Old Delhi, we hired a cycle tuk-tuk. I'd seen on, like, Lonely Planet, I think it was. It's a must-do. It's, like, so good to do that. So we did that. And I really... Stop shaking. We'd agreed, like, 200 for an hour for 2 people, something like that. So we were like, oh, brilliant. Okay, Jeremy didn't want to do it anyway, but I was like, this is going to be fun. And I actually really enjoyed the experience of being on this cycle tuk-tuk, going through all the small roads where there's like fabric shops and street vendors and people with all the like the jewellery and the clothing, and like the shops were just so colourful and magical. And I really, really enjoyed it. And then he stopped after half an hour and was like, okay. And we were like, oh, okay, then that's fine. Jeremy only had a 500, so I gave him the 500 and he gave us 100 back. And we were like, no, you said 200. He was like, yes, 200, 200. We were like,
and he was like,
no.
tip. He was like,
And then he was like, no. And we were like, no, you said 200 for both of us. And he was like, 200, 200. And he wouldn't give us any money back. So we were like, well, no, you owe us money. So I was starting to get a bit agitated. We both were. And we were like, do you know what? Fuck this guy. We walked off and left it. So it's kind of, there's a couple of things like that where like you have a really good experience followed by like a not so great experience.
When we went back and walked, it was nice. I hated this bike ride because not of that. He had a poor old bike.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it. But he was really struggling to pedal because the bike was like very old.
Yeah.
And because it's busy as hell also, so it's really hard to navigate and everything. And I felt so uncomfortable being the white guy sitting, being carried around by this poor guy. It's like you're on a carriage, being moved around by someone using his own body because it doesn't have an engine.
People do that in all over the world. In Amsterdam and things you can do that. In Paris I think you can do that.
I felt so uncomfortable on this one because the guy was actually struggling as hell to move around. I was nearly going to say like I'm going to walk because I feel like you can't carry us.
Yeah.
Because his bike was very old. There's so many people in the street, so many tuk-tuk everywhere. I felt so uncomfortable doing this thing. I'm really being like a white privileged dickhead for paying this guy to move me around when I could just walk, you know. That's how I felt about it.
I did feel that as well. But I also felt like, you know, he's there and we're giving him money and at least we're helping. Even though we got scammed out of it.
That's how I felt on it.
I get that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was one of mine. Going around the old markets, I really enjoyed that. Both times we walked and did the bike ride. I enjoyed the bike ride.
Or the lassi that I had in Old Delhi.
Yeah,
so
like
cheesy.
cheese.
Incredible.
Humanyun's tomb I really liked. I don't know, there was a lot to see. I enjoyed a lot of the architecture in Delhi. Lots of different things. Go and look on my YouTube. We're talking far too much about Delhi. We then got the train to Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is. Again, this is one of those things that's like once in a lifetime. And we booked...
Can I say something about the train?
Okay.
When we were looking about India, we were really scared about taking the train. Because we read so many horror stories on blog posts about people scamming tourists at train station. Pretending to be policemen, telling you your ticket is not valid and trying to get you in another train or in a car because your train is cancelled, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the first time we took the train, we were kind of freaking out. We went, I don't know how many, so earlier.
Yeah.
We were worried about getting in, stuff like that, and it was actually fine.
Yeah.
And the few people we asked, everything was well indicated, like to find a platform and stuff like that. And every single train ride that we had was actually very, very good, and we didn't have any issue. So you probably read a lot of horror story online. We had a very good experience with train in India, and I just wanted to say that because we were scared about it and worried about it.
Yeah. But it was fine. It was clean. Especially
really good trains.
So the thing about trains as well, there's different carriages. The third class where they just cram as many people on as possible. Second class, and then we booked first class, right? Which is AC. You get a big seat. You get maybe a table or whatever. So it was like super easy, super nice. Like it was fine. Arrived in Agra and we booked somewhere called Joey's Hostel, which has views over the Taj Mahal.
Rooftop.
Yeah, the hostel itself was fine. It was nothing amazing.
It was a hostel, yeah.
It was a hostel, but honestly we booked there just so we had views of the Taj Mahal, which I'm really glad we did because we only actually went to the Taj Mahal once in a week, but we saw it every day because we'd go up either for breakfast or for sunset or whatever and see the Taj Mahal every single day. So it was nice to kind of get the view without having to pay for the view every single day, if that makes sense. So I'd recommend staying there or somewhere similar that has views of the Taj Mahal. Obviously, top thing to do there was the Taj Mahal. Other things was the baby Taj. I probably even prefer the baby Taj more than the Taj, and I know that's probably controversial. I loved the building. The outside was beautiful, intricate marble that had been carved and it had gemstones in, and then also on the inside it was all paintings and carvings, and there was like, I remember one in particular, there was a painting of a vase, but it was made out of fish. It was like 3 or 4 fish with flowers, and it was just, and a lot of it was kind of old and dilapidated and been washed away, and it was just so beautiful. Loved that. And then the third thing we did, I guess was the fort in Agra. We did the Agra fort, didn't we? And then the other thing was the same day as the baby Taj, we did something else.
Yeah, but that was
a tomb.
A bad experience.
Didn't love that.
The Taj Mahal was great. You know, some things are like, you hear about it your entire life. You've seen the picture a million times everywhere. So it's like, is it gonna be that good? You know, like, and it was so happy I went.
Yeah.
Like, was the hype? Was it even more beautiful than you actually see in picture? Like, you can see some details and stuff that on picture like, it looks like always just a basic white building when it's actually carved and it's not actually white. Like, plenty of little different colors and stuff like that, and the gardens and the view for the sunset, because we went at like 5 a.m. and yeah,
sunrise then.
Incredible. Yeah,
Something I want to say actually before about Agra is that I was expecting to be a lot bigger, like the city, because I've seen, you see like Slumdog Millionaire when they're, he's like, he goes and tries to be a tour guide and things like that. I don't know, I feel like I've seen the Taj Mahal in films and movies and things. That's the same thing. And it always seems like a bigger city, and we got there and there's kind of just like one road, a couple of smaller roads coming off, but it's quite a small place.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but yeah.
Don't you?
The neighborhood we stayed in is small, but the city was like expanded, just we didn't go into the...
No, but I was expecting the city where, like, I was expecting next to the Taj Mahal to be like big buildings and like more people, more infrastructure, I guess, not like broken roads and cows and horses, and like I was expecting a lot more.
It's just what it is.
I was expecting more of like a Jaipur in Agra, because it seems like the Taj Mahal is there, like millions of people go to see that every single year. There must be money being spent there, yet it wasn't what I was expecting. So okay, carry on with your top 3.
Baby Taj was incredible.
Okay, I just had to change the battery. Carry on.
I really like the Agra Fort. I think the Red Fort, which is the most famous one, was inspired, I think, by the Agra Fort, if I remember. Yeah, like plenty of buildings inside with a view on the river and the Taj Mahal. I think the room of the daughter was like full of marble with like an incredible balcony and view. Was like insane, really
like
good.
Palaces, and there was even a temple in there, wasn't there? Like a mosque or something, and there's a huge
really
courtyards.
Beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah. There's vlogs from all these places, by the way. I'll leave them in the description box.
Food was there, like nothing great, especially after Delhi.
Yeah, we found one place that we went to. We went to a couple of different places, and we found one that we ended up going to most nights.
But because it was the best, it doesn't mean it was great. Anyway, that's a good.
Yeah, what was that one? Kofta.
Malai kofta.
Malai kofta was nice there.
Yeah. Apart from that, Agra is not great. Don't stay long there.
So we had, I'll tell you briefly about our experiences there. We kind of went for a little bit of an adventure and walked. So if you're looking at the Taj Mahal, we walked down the right hand side and kind of, we're going to another building that's there that looks really nice. And I always see people post actually yoga pictures from there, because they always have the Taj Mahal behind and the river on the right. So I thought, okay, let's go and have a look. We'll see what it's like. And as we were walking through, we kind of walked through this small village of people, and everyone was kind of watching us and staring at us, being like, what are they doing here? They're not in the tourist district. I think they're lost, basically. And then there was like 3 or 4 boys came up to us and being like, what are you doing here? What's your name? What are you doing? Where are you going? We were like, we're okay, we're just walking, thank you. Like, my name's Rosie, this is Jeremy. Like, and talking to them, but also just kind of being a little bit dismissive and just kind of a bit like, okay, we just want to walk. Thank you for talking to us, but we're okay. And then they were like, no, you're in danger, don't go there, danger. We were like, oh, okay. So then we decided to, okay, well, actually we'll walk back. But the whole time they're like, Jeremy's got an Apple Watch, so like staring at his watch. Or like, I've got my camera, they're kind of like, what's in your bag?
I remember I had some coin in my pocket those days.
Oh yeah,
and
the
they could
coins
hear
were
the
rattling.
coin like moving in my pocket, and they kept asking for money like all the time, like they always did. And yeah, like they're looking at my pocket because they could hear the coin. It was nothing, it was really like 3 rupees, but
yeah. And that's actually something people the kids come up to you in Agra and be like, money please, and they just know that white people equals money please, and that's probably the only thing they can say.
They
in
say
English.
hello money.
Yeah, hello money,
hello money,
and like hold their hands out. So we somehow ended up on this road. We thought we were going to go somewhere else, and then somehow we're here. I'm not entirely sure how. Okay, so as I was talking to you, there was 3 kids who started following us and kind of chased up behind us. They're like, no, you danger, don't go. So we're like, okay, let's turn around. I don't want to be in danger. And then they were asking us like where we're from and our name. So then we walked back through the village, and it's funny because the kids come up to go, hello, money. I guess it's just what they're taught to kind of say to white people. I don't know, so we didn't love that. And then also the other tomb that we went to, we were there. So these kids I just talked about were maybe like 10 years old, like not intimidating, it was fine. It was just a bit like, okay, we'll not go there. If we're in danger, we believe you, we'll go the opposite way, that's fine. But then we went to this other tomb, and there was some guys there who were probably like 15 years
16,
old.
yeah.
There's probably like 4 or 5 of them, and they'd kind of seen us when we arrived, and we kind of walked around the gardens, then got closer to the building, and it was really beautiful because it was kind of blue tiles that had sort of fallen off and were kind of decaying a little bit, and it was beautiful. I was trying to take pictures, I had my big camera out, and again they were just kind of following us, looking at my camera, looking at my phone because I was vlogging as well, looking at Jeremy's watch, looking at Jeremy's, like, and it was kind of like, what's your name, what are you doing, and like following us, and we were just a bit like, sorry,
like literally
okay.
following us as we were trying to enjoy the thing and do the visit, and they were literally like following us like here, like stuck to our back, like walking, and
it's just uncomfortable. And like I kind of said this in other videos, but like being followed anywhere in the world is uncomfortable, especially as a woman being followed by 4 or 5 boys, men, teenagers. I'd feel intimidated in England, in France, in America.
It's just something you don't do anyway. You don't just follow random people that you never met before.
And constantly
like,
asking questions as well.
Like,
so then at one point, Jeremy had to be like, okay, stop following us.
This time I literally going on, and I was like, I literally like, get the hell away. I think I insulted them probably or whatever. Like I was getting annoyed. I was like, that's too much now. Like I asked you a few times nicely. If you don't get it, I'm gonna be rude now. Yeah,
right. But I feel like that's the case. A lot of the time is you can be as nice as you want, but at some point you just have to be like...
Subtlety didn't work.
No, you have to be like, leave us the fuck alone, and then they actually would do. Anyway, next up we went to Jaipur. Oh my god, such a beautiful place. I absolutely loved Jaipur architecture. Let's be specific here.
It's called the Pink City. So.
It's the Pink City. It's absolutely beautiful. There were so many things that I loved. The first thing we did was the fort at the top, Nagahara, something like that, fort. Absolutely beautiful. You get up there and the inside, it's like all a yellowish colour with paintings of elephants, and then as you go inside, just the walls are incredible. From someone who like loves textiles, photography, orange, no, but also like paintings, like handicraft, like handmade things, or just beautiful things. I just absolutely loved it. I photographed so much of it. Really enjoyed that. That was definitely a highlight. We also did the city palace, which was beautiful. Saw the famous doors with like the peacocks and the different 4 doors. Loved that. Did the Taj Mahal. I enjoyed that. I don't think you'd have to do it twice. I think definitely do it once to have a walk around. But I do wish we'd gone to the opposite side of the road and got coffee at the cafe, or not coffee, but like a drink at the cafe, because I think that's where you get the best view. So I definitely recommend doing that. What else? We did that space thing.
Astronomy stuff.
Yeah. What else did we do there? Patrika Gate, beautiful. I'd seen that online as well before. And I actually remember Victoria and Harrison, if you know who I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. But they went to India maybe like 6 to 8 years ago. And I remember they took pictures at Patrika Gate, and I was like, oh my God, one day I have to go there. It looks so beautiful, and it did not disappoint. I loved it. It's basically 9 different archways, and they painted lots of history basically about Rajasthan, which is the part of India we were in. That's kind of the county. Different parts of like their history and different things that happened and different people, and it was just
It's a massive roundabout.
Incredible. Yeah, it's a big round. It's random. It's on like a big roundabout.
It's a massive roundabout outside of the main city. There's like a massive park as well. Really random, right?
It's like a 10-15 minute drive. Oops, that's gone now. Sorry, the light's gone.
Okay.
Okay, we've plugged it in. This is not going well. Yeah, it was like a 10-minute drive away from Jaipur, so you'd have to get a taxi there and back. But that was beautiful. And we also did we do the other fort there or something?
We did a day tour.
Amber Palace, that was it.
Yeah, the Amber Palace. Like museum, like plenty of tomb.
Oh, for the women?
Yeah, we did the block printing quick visit.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. Yeah, and a bunch of things like some wells.
Step wells.
Stuff
That was
like
cool
that.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful city. It's a lot to see there. Like, probably, like in Agra, it's only like a couple of things that you can do like in 2 days, when Jaipur is actually quite a lot to see.
Yeah, we had busy days there.
Yeah, it's a lot of sightseeing, a lot of different things, and we didn't even do everything. There's a couple of things in the list that we didn't do, less important, but yeah, a lot to see there. Found a good spot for food. Went there every day pretty much.
Oh, Jantar Sweets.
Yeah.
They had really good samosas.
And dosa and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the food was good. Yeah, it was a cool city. Like.
Oh, the lassi there. That's where we started getting lassi.
Oh yeah, because like a lassi from like the 60s or 70s, a shop, like a massive queue. You had to go before 2 or 3 p.m. otherwise it was sold out.
That was fun. Trying to like get in with the locals and like try and pay your money and try and wait for you, and they just randomly give you a drink and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it was really good.
Just tasted like insane, delicious sweet yogurt, but quite milky, so you could actually drink it. So good.
It was great. Yeah, the host was really nice there.
Yeah. I'll leave it.
Like the first 2 we stayed was like Delhi and Agra was more like hostel vibes. When this one's like closer to an Airbnb.
Yeah.
So we actually got to speak to the guy quite a bit, and he was giving us recommendation. Really nice guy, a cute doggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would highly recommend there. Like, it was a little bit outside of the pink city. Like it was a good walk, but it was really quiet, and I don't know. Yeah, but he was a nice guy.
There was a lot to see there. I really, really enjoyed it.
That's probably the place where you would like to spend the most of time, I think.
I think Delhi you could probably do a week.
Yeah.
Pushing it, but probably a week. I think Agra 2 or 3 days. I'd say go and see the Taj Mahal first thing in the morning. So like get there one day. Taj Mahal, we got there like 5 in the morning to see it for sunrise. And then you could probably see the Baby Taj and the other mausoleum thing in the afternoon, and then do the Red Fort and then go, probably. So you could probably do it in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
But I think Jaipur, we stayed a week. We could have done with 10 days, probably a little bit longer, just to kind of have slower days, because we're working and travelling, so we could have done like a bit more chill. But I really liked Jaipur, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Did we have any weird experiences? In Howard Mahal, there was a guy, like, there's people asking for pictures, following us, looking at us, whatever. Like, we kind of got used to it by that point. But this one guy was just like, and I literally went up to him, I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." So that was a little bit odd, but otherwise.
Yeah, no, it was alright. Well, yeah, I mean, it's all the same, right? When we went to the fort up there, I was expecting to take Uber back down, because Uber was just walking everywhere. But obviously, it's basically a mafia of tuk-tuk driver at the top there, where they all disconnect the Uber stuff. So the only way you have to book them is by paying them cash.
Yeah. We only had 400.
Yeah, and that basically means they have like the monopoly of that, and they can charge you what the hell they want, and obviously they charge you twice the amount than it costs to go up.
Yeah.
And luckily, like a driver was dropping people there and talked to us, and eventually kind of negotiated for us the price for what we had to go down. Yeah, like again, it's just like people screwing us.
They were saying like 800, and we were like, okay, but we don't have 800, we have 400.
We also didn't have it. Actually.
We literally only had 400, because when we go out for a day trip, we plan like, okay, well, it costs this much to get in here, this much to get in here, this much for food, so we kind of take what we need. And he was like 800, and it was like, good, but we literally don't have that amount of money. We have 400. Okay, 600. Well, we still don't have 600. But it went on for like 20 minutes, half an hour. Like, it's back on, and it was just like, if you don't want to drive us, stop talking to us. Just bugger off. Like, let us just find
someone
like
following us around and stuff like that.
Find us someone who will drive us. Like, we can talk to other people.
But basically, because they all have a deal. Like the nice guy who then we did the day trip with.
Yeah.
Like, was like,
I can't.
I would take you down, but I can't, because like I work with those guys, and if I charge half of what they would charge you. Like then, it's going to be a problem. This is literally like a mafia. I have this agreement. It was like, yeah, so again, like,
Ended up paying 400 because that's literally all we had.
Yeah.
And we were like, we only have this amount of money. But the other thing as well, actually, was at Amber Palace, they do elephant rides, which we didn't love.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we didn't do it. You can climb up the steps, or you can get an elephant ride from the bottom to the top. There was like there was like 20 or 30 elephants wearing like the seats with like they look beautiful with the decorations and like from like a visual aspect, it's beautiful. The textiles are beautiful. I don't agree with riding them, like we just made that clear. So there was people using elephants as well, which we don't particularly love. There was also that the thing in the middle of the water.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but yeah, it's a temple in the middle of sort of lake, and it's
they
like
had camels there, didn't they?
7th floor, but you can only see the top floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something with a good history, but you can't go there, so you just on the road and take a picture and you read the thing. But
long story short, there is a lot to do in Jaipur. It's beautiful. We didn't have any crazy bad experiences. Would recommend going probably for 10 days, if not 2 weeks if you have time. We then went to Jodhpur, which is known as the Blue City. So we went from the Pink City to the Blue City.
got hotter.
It got hot. Yeah, it was like 45 degrees in the shade when we were there. Absolutely scorching. It was so hot.
But we had an amazing Airbnb.
Yeah.
Booking.com, whatever, but like a family
homestay
thing, where with an nice family, where we had an incredible breakfast every morning made by the mum.
Yeah, it was different every day as well.
And she made us try everything, and it was so much that we didn't need lunch because it was so much food.
Yeah.
And it was so
literally,
good.
yeah, I don't think I ever vlogged how much breakfast we got. But
it was
like,
incredible.
They would bring us out something and we'd be like, oh, okay, fine, we'll eat that. And then it'd be like, oh, here's another one. And then and it was just like, okay, this is, and then, oh, and here's some fruit and here's some yogurt and it was just like, this is so much food. So yeah, we only really ate dinners. We had like a samosa in the afternoon to like keep us going, but
really nice. Go there for the accommodation.
Yeah, I'll leave it linked. But Jodhpur is basically, there's a square with a clock tower with markets around there, and then there's a main road coming off where there's lots of shops and markets again, and there's a huge fort on the top of the hill, and below the fort is called the Blue City, where a lot of the buildings are painted blue, and there's also the steps as well that we really enjoyed. So we were staying a little bit out of town again, so it's probably like a 10-minute walk to get to the clock tower, to get kind of to the steps, that kind of thing, 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't down. Like.
Well, it was in town, but it wasn't in the blue section, or it wasn't by the market. It was a little bit further out, which was nice because it was quiet. We always prefer quiet with good internet and good people rather than like centre of town where it's noisy all the time. So we enjoyed it there. It was hot as shit, let me tell you. It was literally, on the app it said 45 degrees.
Yeah, it was mad.
Which is crazy hot. I've never been so hot, I don't think. Yeah, Bernie. So we had a nice time. There was one experience in particular that just turned my stomach and made me feel sick, which was when we saw a child getting a tattoo on the street. There was some man like tattooing something on his arm here.
With his mum or an adult holding the kid.
Yeah, because he was in pain and
in the middle of with a car driving around, dusty as hell on the floor with like
dirty, probably not a fresh needle. Like
no way you should do it.
No, it was. But he was also maybe about like 8 to 10 years old.
Less than 10 years.
Yeah, less than 10 years old, and it was just a bit like, oh, I was meant to be vlogging that day. I saw that and it just turned my stomach, and it really affected me, didn't it?
Yeah.
I really didn't enjoy seeing that. So apart from that, the fort was good. It was big, wasn't it? There was a lot to see.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it'd be a lot smaller. I mean, it looks big, obviously, but there's actually sometimes with forts they only really show you half of it because maybe the family still lives in the other half or something.
Well, that was the case.
That was the case, but we still saw a lot of.
Not my favourite fort though.
No, but it was big and it was good views over the city as well. Like when you get to the top, you had amazing views over all the town, and you can see some of the buildings in blue and white and how it kind of, it was nice.
I really like the white building Muslim stuff. It's basically like the fort is like
Jaswant Fada.
That was probably my favourite one there. The fort by itself, I wasn't a big fan personally. However, I really enjoyed like watching the sunset on the first day next to the fort, where you have a view of the fort and the sunset and like the whole valley or whatever with like a really cool sunset.
It was called something like Sangria Hill, but not Sangria.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like watching the sunset from the top of the hill with a view on the fort and stuff like that. That was really cool. Walking around the street of the Blue City was nice, but yeah, we stayed a week there. That was unnecessary.
It was too long.
Could have done like 2 days is enough. I mean, there's not much to see. Visit the fort, walk around the street, take your Instagram pictures, and you can move on.
I really enjoyed there's a section called the Blue Corridor, and it's basically a corridor like houses or like walls, and it's all painted blue with different things like mandalas, butterflies, people, faces, carriages, turbans, just patterns, and it was just really, really cool. I really enjoyed that bit. It was definitely another place where we got stared at a lot. There's
not much to see, to be honest. There's not much to do. It's a place where I would stay like 2-3 nights tops.
Oh, I really enjoyed the steps. We'd sit there and watch the kids jumping in and swimming. That was really fun.
Yeah.
That was nice. I would love to have jumped in with them because let me tell you, it was hot. So top 3, the fort, the steps, and walking around the blue market, I think. Like the blue roads and things.
Yeah. I'd replace the steps by the white museum stuff.
Just want better. Okay, so we spent a week there and then went back to Delhi for a couple of days. So we've already talked about Delhi. We then went to Rishikesh, which is basically the world capital of yoga or something like that, and spent 2 weeks there. And we thought we would chill a little bit after kind of dotting around. We thought India would be a lot.
But I was supposed to work intensely for the first week.
Yeah, that was it. Joe was supposed to be working.
I was launching something, so I was like, first week, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to work. So we'll have 1 week to work, 1 week to visit. So let's book 2 weeks.
Yeah. But also we thought that we thought India was going to be a lot, which it was. Yeah. So we were like, we'll be able to chill a little bit, like go on hikes in nature and like slow down a little bit rather than having to do like day trip to see everything, which was nice. I do feel like a week is enough.
Yeah, way too long. Because I didn't have that much work to do at the end of last time, so ultimately we didn't need that extra time.
We went hiking up to some waterfalls. There's not a lot to do actually in town. So we stayed in Tapovan, I think it's called. It's like just one section of Rishikesh. Upper Tapovan, yeah. And the bridge to cross over was closed, so we just get a boat or walk all the way around. So we enjoyed kind of walking around, really, kind of walking down to the other part of town, which is way less touristy. I enjoyed sitting by the River Ganges and watching people wash and play and splash and things like that. Yeah.
There's nothing to do there. If you're not doing a yoga teacher training, you can go there for 3 days. You look at the Ganges, you take a yoga class, and you go for a hike and move on.
Yeah.
Do rafting, move on.
Yeah, I did rafting. That was fun.
There's nothing to do there.
Well, yeah.
No, there's nothing.
Like you said, that if you want to, if you want to wake up and do yoga, go for a hike, sit by the Ganges.
If you want to do a YTT
read a
for
book.
very cheap, yeah, that's the place.
Yeah.
It's $200. But if you just go there to visit, there's not much to do.
Yeah.
Traffic is absolutely freaking insane.
Insane. There's one road.
There's one road going in and out, and it took us. We took a train for 3 hours from Delhi to Rishikesh, from like a place near Rishikesh, and from this place to Rishikesh, which was like 40 kilometers, it took us 3.5 hours drive.
Yeah, we were just stuck in traffic.
The whole time, and the 2 weeks we were there, like we could see on the road through the mountain, like the car being stuck all day, every day, all the time.
And also,
mad.
As soon as you step outside and go anywhere, like unless you just go straight down to the water, but if you want to go through town or up to the waterfall or something, you cross this road and it's just back-to-back cars and horns beeping, even though they're not moving.
Yeah. But it's like big trucks with the rafting on the top, so it's also like very big, large cars where you have to be careful for your mad.
Top 3, I would say, is the food, because it was the first time I could have salads and fresh food and hummus and falafel and cucumber and just all.
The chef of the hotel was really good and super nice guy.
Yeah, he was really good. So I enjoyed the food. The thing was the rafting. I really enjoyed that. I will say, I said it in the vlog, it was a shame that we didn't float through where we'd been staying. So when we were staying there, we'd keep seeing people on the rafts, like floating through the city and seeing, I think it was so nice to float through and see the buildings either side, like the big temple and the bridges and all the colourful buildings, but our tour stopped before we did that, which is a shame. So if you do that, make sure you go through the town, if that makes sense. And then third off would be the yoga classes. I think I bought a yoga mat and I've been doing a little bit since then, not a lot but a little bit. But we did a yin yoga with sound bath together, and then I did 2 sessions of yoga nidra. Absolutely loved it. I was like so relaxed. But I was also like, I wasn't asleep. I mean, I was awake, but I was just so like
Zoned out.
in the zone. It was so nice. So that'd be my top 3, and also watching people in the Ganges. That was fun. What about you? Waterfalls?
I would not go back there. That's
Yeah, but if the people are going,
if
what
I
would you
have to
recommend?
go, do a hike somewhere.
Go to the secret waterfall.
Even the waterfall is like tiny. It's not like it's a shitty waterfall. I'm sorry. I guess the best thing that we did was this Hindu, I believe, temple. It's like a pyramid where you have like 12 floors. And it's like ping, like from the other side of the river. It was really cool to look at it. And actually going in was cool because it's much higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And the view from up there of the valley and the river and everything was really, really cool. That's probably the best thing to do. Get headbutted by a cow.
Don't get headbutted by a car.
Yeah.
Cow even.
It wasn't my favorite place. I don't have much to say about it, to be honest.
Okay, so we've talked about our trip. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and give you our honest opinion. So I've obviously told you a couple of little stories here and there. And we want to try and be respectful because obviously the things that... Nothing bad happened, I want to reiterate. But the things that we saw, or... How do we say this? Like
it's bad I felt personally. The thing I saw is like, I've never felt so uncomfortable and at ease and out of place in my entire life. I felt I was on another planet. I felt like, culturally speaking, I've never felt so disconnected from other people.
Yeah.
Everything that is culturally normal for Indian to do was out of my mind to me. It's things that I would never imagine people would do, like, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I get it, it's just the way it is. We have different cultures, probably other things in the world that I can't grasp, but I think I can be open-minded most of the time. I'm curious of like other people's cultures and stuff like that. That was too much for me. That was like, I could not understand how a lot of the things, like, just weird for me.
I mean, one of the great examples is the kid getting tattooed on the street. Like, that is, like, you have to be 16 or 18 in Europe to get a tattoo. Like a 10-year-old getting tattooed. And I think it's a common thing there because I've seen pictures online of people being like, oh my God, I saw a tattooed kid in Jodhpur. But I didn't think I'd actually see it. So seeing that, honestly, was really shocking. But also in terms of, like, everyday culture things, like spitting in the street, throwing rubbish in the street everywhere, pissing in the street, cows in the street. I didn't mind the cows, but it's not what we're used to. Yeah. The amount of dirt, the amount of trash, the amount of plastic everywhere. I think you got a video from Jodhpur when we were sort of at the clock tower round the back, and it stinks a lot of the time. They have urinals in the street. So when we were in Delhi, there's like the main road, the main touristy road, and our hotel was kind of off the road and off this bit a little bit. And at this section here, there was 2 urinals that constantly had men there every single day, all hours of the day. There was 2 men pissing.
They've probably never been cleaned since they've been built.
And like, you'd have to hold your breath from basically leaving our hotel until you get well onto the street. We'd be talking about, oh, hold your breath, and like walk as fast as we could because it just, the horrendous stench of piss. Okay, so our hotel is down this road. I'm obviously walking away from the hotel now, but I just thought I would show you and give you a little bit of a glimpse. But that brown wall there, there's 2 urinals, or urinals, however you say it, which means that it stinks. I'm going to hold my breath. When you're trying to walk out of your hotel.
When it's 40 degrees also, you know?
Yeah, and it's just things like that just like, it's like the staring was another level as well. I feel like
I've never felt so disconnected from human beings. Like,
I'm used to being stared at because I vlog a lot. I kind of walk around with my phone a lot and talk to myself, and I can't, whatever. And obviously being white in Asia, sometimes get stared at, or not even just looked at, generally just like, oh, they're different, that's fine. But in India, people would just stare, and like, we were sat on the metro a few times, or like stood on the metro, and you'd kind of glance around and have like a man here staring, 2 men here staring, 3 men here staring, and like talking about me, making it obvious, being like, oh, psh, 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 psh. And like, you'd look at them and be like, are you okay? And they just carry it like,
they don't smile, they just look at you like.
But I remember in Sri Lanka, Stop. I know. I remember in Sri Lanka that it was kind of similar in that men would stare, but if I cracked a smile, they would smile back, and it kind of broke the tension. It was nice to smile with people, and they'd smile back, and it was like a nice thing. So the first week or two in India, I would kind of smile at people and be like, hi. And they're just like dead face staring at you, and it's so awkward. And there were so many times where I just felt like, oh my god, he's staring. Oh my god, why are they staring? Or like people filming me, photographing me. We went to the fort.
Like always like carrying phone like that, pretending to do nothing and just taking pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I literally had to put like my hand in front of people's face and everything just to stop them.
Like there was a fort we went to. I think it was the fort in.
The Red Fort in Delhi.
In Delhi, yeah. And there was like a man with his 2 kids who were probably like teenagers or whatever, and he'd kind of like get his phone and be like, no, stand there. So like I was just busy taking pictures of the architecture, and he'd get his sons to stand in between him and me and take pictures or videos and things, or like people like literally...
people were posing and waiting for us to walk to take the picture or some shit, and we were like waiting, so they were waiting for us, or
like they'd cross the street to run over to us, and it was also just the assumption that like they have the right for us to take, like we have to stop and take photographs. A lot of the time it was like selfie, and it was like, no thank you. We're like, what? And it was like, no, I don't want a picture with you. And one time we got called rude, so people like shouting to us, talking to us, and oftentimes when we're in the hotel we're like working and whatever, and then we go out for a walk, and that's when we have our like conversations about work, about life, about how we're feeling, about what we're doing next, whatever. So we kind of talk when we're having a walk outside. And oftentimes people just be like, hello sir, where are you going? What's your name? Da-da-da. And it was just
what's
like,
your name, where are you from?
What's your name, where are you from? And it'd just be like, okay, sorry, we're just talking right now. But it's that all the time, and it's just a bit like, I don't understand interrupting people that are having a conversation. And then one time this man was like, oh, you don't have to be rude to me, or why are you being so rude or something. It was like, oh my god, you're being rude, interrupting us and our conversation, just going about our day. You're like shouting at us, and then tell us off for not talking to you.
How the fuck do you think that you have the right, why should you assume that I have to talk to you, dude?
Yeah. Another thing we have to say is that we found a lot of people, again, not everyone, just people that we noticed, were very selfish and very me. And to the point where, like, if we were getting off the metro in other countries around the world, you would wait for people to get off and then you would get on. Or you would let, like, half of it would be to get people off and the half would be to get people on. You kind of navigate a little bit, and there's some sort of like leeway there. But in India, if you're on the metro trying to get off, there's like a barrage of like 4 to 6 men just like pushing you back on again. And I remember, actually, I didn't talk about it in any of the vlogs, but when we were leaving Delhi to go to the airport, we had on our big backpacks, big front bags, and I think even had a smaller bag next to me. And the tram doors stopped, and there's a man on the train just stood there, didn't move. He was looking out the window, didn't even know I was there. And then men just come on the other side, and I was like, hello, I need to get off here. And the train was busy, and there was like 12 people or something getting on, wasn't there? And it was just like, oh, so I had to like push through them. It was just like, and even in terms of like, there's so many little things. But even like at the metro, you have to put your bag through a scanner, and then you go through security things, and then you get your bag the other side. If we happen to have 2 bags, you put one bag on, someone's there putting their bag like before you've had a chance to put your second bag. But then especially when we kind of travelled to and from cities, we'd have a backpack, a front backpack, and then a bag. So you put one bag on, 5 people put their shit on there already. Before you even had a chance to put your second bag on, another 5 people pushing in front of you, putting their bags on, and then you try and get... And then the other side, your bag's like... Just everyone's just on it all the time, like just me first. I don't give a shit about you. I'm more important. My bag's going on now. I'm going through now. I'm doing this now. And it's just constant, wasn't it? Just constant like barrage of just like selfishness, and it was insane.
It's a beautiful country with incredible things to see. If I have to recommend someone who really wants to see it, it's like go with like a tour bus or something like that. You sleep and you go to a place you want to see, you take your pictures, and you move on to the next place.
So the other thing as well, I want to kind of clarify, like, I said about on the metro, you've got like 2 people staring here, 3 people staring here. But like, say for example, on our section of the metro, there's like 30 people. There's maybe 5 people staring. So it's not like everyone. And when we say like everyone in India, it's not everyone in India. It just happens to be a good lot of people that make you feel uncomfortable. And saying like when we're walking around, it's not every single, because there's a fuck ton of people in India. It wasn't every single person asking us for photographs or asking for a name.
It was a lot though.
But it was a lot. So I just want to clarify, it's not everyone. There's also things where like there was a guy in a tuk-tuk. We're so wound up. I had to go and chill on the beach after filming this. But there was a guy in a tuk-tuk who was doing like a 3-point turn. He was reversing. He saw Jeremy and drove straight into Jeremy. Didn't think 1 minute, he's just going to be 1 second and he's out of the way, then I can reverse. He just drove straight into Jeremy. There was another point, there was a car that was parked and there was tuk-tuks coming like this. So we sort of thought, okay, so we'll stand here where the car is just while this tuk-tuk goes and we'll be able to go out. Well, this car thought, no, I need to start driving right now, and drove straight into you. It like...
Just don't give a shit about the people. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to go, and if you're in the way, like...
You have to move out of the way. Basically, it's just like every man for himself, and it's like, it's honestly, and I think as well, my biggest fear before we went was like getting lost or losing you, or for some reason it was being separated. And I think that was a real fear, and I don't blame myself because it was worse than I could ever imagine. But like, it's so hard because I look at my vlogs, and if you've watched my vlogs, if you're even still watching, well done. But like, when I watch my vlogs, I'm like, oh my god, India's so pretty and so nice. Because like, I put music on when I'm doing like B-roll, and when there's like horns blazing, when there's people talking, and obviously I don't film when I feel uncomfortable, when like there's people barging into me, when there's too many people I didn't film. So you only ever see the nice parts of India, and I put nice music on it, and I think I'm alright making a video look nice. So I watch it back and I'm like, oh, India was actually really nice. It wasn't actually that bad. But then when you think about it, it was really not that good. It was just insane, and I just think...
We paid for a 1-year visa.
Yeah.
And we went for 6 weeks, and...
It was about...
Thank you, but you can keep the 45 extra weeks.
It was about 4 weeks too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, let's end it on a high. So, I will say, I loved the architecture. The food was good. The travel was good in terms of the trains and things.
I will enjoy India in pictures or in movies in the future. That's the best way to experience it, the way I see it. Food, incredible.
The thing is as well, people warn you about India, and you kind of think, and I remember being like, oh, God, people keep saying bad things about it. I'm just going to have to go and experience it for myself. And I believe that. I do think you should go and experience it for yourself. But nothing prepares you for what India is until you get there. Like, just the feeling, and it's like I said, nothing bad happened. It's the feeling of just uncomfortable, and like, I don't mind being uncomfortable. You know, we don't have a luxury lifestyle. We're not staying in posh hotels. We eat street food all the time. Like, I don't mind being uncomfortable, but this was like uncomfortable anytime we stepped out of the hotel for 6 weeks. So yeah, you might have enjoyed this video. You might not have done. I'm sorry if you're Indian, you're watching this and you think we're just being awful people, but that is our opinions of what happened, and I apologise.
Just an experience.
Yeah, and this is, I don't want to stop people from going to India, but
some people love it and we don't. That's it.
So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I know it's bloody long, but have a good day. Bye.